So what do the finances look like today? Like getting 10 million streams on Spotify. Like, could you break us down? Like, we know nothing about in this sort of industry.
We can also guess.
Okay, guess.
Like how much 10 million monthly listeners, so your Spotify check only. I'm going to say, what do you think, Graham? I'm going to say per month with 10 million monthly listeners, $175,000 a month.
No, dude, I'm going to guess like $500 a month from Spotify.
What?
Right? Yeah.
Okay. So
10 million streams.
There's so many
10 million monthly listeners.
So monthly listeners, it's interesting because it's a very deceiving statistic or analytic because it actually doesn't matter. Like it literally doesn't mean anything.
Right. Because
it's like, for instance, The Weeknd, biggest artist in the world off streaming revenue, off this, off that. You know, he's the most streamed artist. So a monthly listener is someone who comes back and listens to a song twice within a month.
Oh,
so basically,
I had no idea.
So basically what that means is you can have a lot of monthly listeners, but not a bunch of daily streams. Whereas like this collective or these two dudes called Boys, they have about, I think 14, 15 million monthly listeners, but they have like 10 million streams a day. I have 10 million monthly listeners and about 1.8 to 2 million streams a day. So it really only matters with the amount of actual consumption rather than the fan listening more than. So their fans are listening like 5 times, 6 times, whereas my fans are listening like once.
And how can you figure out that statistic, or is that only like in the dashboard?
It's in the dashboard.
Okay,
so basically, like every million streams is about $3,800. So if I was streaming about 40, I think I stream about 48 to 49 million streams a month on average. So it's like about 50. So 100, it would be about 150,000, but I don't own all the royalties. Some songs that are doing really well, for instance, one of my biggest songs ever, La La La, I sold that song when it was like taking off, and I only own 25% of it from a label. Also, labels, there's so many smoking screens, like there's so many extra hidden fees, like it's some for sure. Like every distribution is like they're scraping. And every single company will do this. Typically, I would say on an average song, I end up having about, on average, like 60% from my whole catalog of the royalties on the master side. So I would be making about like $2,700 out of these $3,800 per million. So I make about like 5 to 6K kind of flat a day, approximately.
All right, you're closer. I'm way off.
$500 a month? That is an abysmal guess. That is.
$500. I was like, damn.
Yeah, that's
you're
crazy.
way off, bro.
He has a little bit of money.
Yeah,
clearly.
I had it in my notes here. 1 million streams is $33.
That's crazy. Well, a million streams on YouTube on streaming of a song
maybe that's
is way lower. The CPM on YouTube is like kaput. It's garbage.
Interesting.
And it really also depends on where it's being streamed. So for instance, like India, a Spotify subscription is
true.
It's like 30 cents in India. So every stream from India would be way less worth. Whereas like in America, it's like $15 a month or something. I don't know. I don't even listen to music really. I don't even have a Spotify account. Sorry, Spotify.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't. I like legit have yet to use it.
How do you listen to music?
I don't really listen to music.
What do you listen to?
I actually don't really listen to music, just full stop.
What about like a podcast or like?
I just kind of like chilling because my life is always music.
Yeah.
It's always thinking about like, whenever I listen to songs, I like, it's kind of like finance. It's like when someone talks about finance, it's like that's on your mind. And when I hear songs, I'm like, why is this song big? I need to like analyze the song. Whereas like I can't even listen to it anymore. Obviously, some songs I'll come on. I'm like, whoa, this is really good. This is super catchy. I like this. This like the synthetic sound here is really nice. Like it's so well mixed. But I don't really like consume it as I used to. And I think that's just like a product of my environment.
So it's like a job, kind of when you're listening to music.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also it also distills feeling for sure. But it's definitely less than it used to. Where was I? So going back to the money thing. So on YouTube, 1 million typically equates to about $700. So let's say you do 1 million on every single platform. You're gonna be looking at like, what's 1 million on like all the other ancillaries? Probably another like $2,000. So you have like 3,800, 2,000, 800. And then if you do 1 million on all of these streaming platforms, so like let's say you have like 5 million total streams, on the publishing side, this is where it gets really complicated. Publishing has mechanical royalties, and mechanical royalties, what that is like, it's a royalty that I'm also not the most educated on this. Like, people literally have their whole lives collecting mechanical royalties for like publishing companies. It's ridiculous. But basically, it's like on these streaming platforms, they have these performance royalties that go out to all these publishing companies of like songwriters. So if there is 3 people in the room and we write this song, it's called Nashville. Basically what it is you split it 3 ways. So we compose the song together. So 33, 33, and I will just typically take 34 because it's just easier to split it up that way, obviously. So that 800 would be split 33, 33, 33. And that's just the mechanical. And then you have like sync royalties. You have like if someone uses it in the movie, you have like extra royalties coming in. There is like so many unspoken nuances and like small little revenue generators in music that is like, it would blow your mind.
It just depends on where it's played. Played in a TV show, it pays this. Played in a movie, it pays this. And they all have different splits.
So Garfield took one of my songs and used it as their trailer. And I was like out in Japan, like sitting in a beautiful forest. I was like, man, I love Japan. And I checked my phone. I was like, boom, $300,000. Just like that.
Are
Just
you
like that.
kidding me?
And I was like, Garfield, I f with you.
Did you know that was
ask you?
coming?
No. So it's just like basically they reach out and they're like, we want to pay for this. But the thing is, I own 21% of that song on both sides. So 21% of 300,000 is, what is that, like 67,000? So $67,000, but I didn't do really anything. I just made the song, and luckily the song became a hit. But you see how like all these extra streams and revenue just keep on coming in. Too Hot to Handle has used my songs all the time, and like Love Is Blind use my songs, and then they pay royalties. They pay out like a licensing fee, so you get like $5,000 just like that randomly. Boom.
And you have agents that just negotiate this completely detached from you.
Yeah.
You don't even know they're doing that.
Yeah.
And then just randomly on a day, you'll
It's
just
just
get like a
like
check
typically
from...
Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm like, come on, like a draw. And then I'll just get an email or like a text from like my publisher, like A&R guy, and he's like, hey, we got a big one. And I'm like, movie, let's go out for dinner, boys. And that's kind of it. It's sick. And that's just like that's like one small little avenue. And it's interesting and really, really cool too, because people make careers just out of that, where they're like, I'm a sync writer. So I will make songs. There will be like a sync pitch and be like, hey, we have like an action movie with Dwayne The Rock Johnson and we need bing, bang, boom, boom type music. So people will be like, a composer will be like, all right, let's try it. So he goes in the studio and makes like a song that sounds like what they want. And then you might get it and you might not. And they'll do a full buyout of like $100,000. And like people have full lives like that. And it's like such a small little factor of what music is. And it's like you can compose this, compose that for ads, and it's actually really cool once you like see how the backside of the music industry is. It's like really, really enjoyable. There's so many avenues that you can create revenue from.
So why does it seem like a lot of musicians say it's a horrible industry to be in, and it seems like just like the top 0.1% is reaping like almost all the revenue?
Well, I mean, okay, so on a touring perspective, it's a nightmare. So the AAA artists, they clean up. Like that's, like Beyonce's out here doing like $100 million in a touring revenue. Like Olivia Rodrigo was the highest grossing artist of our decade. Of like,
more than Taylor Swift?
Well, a new artist.
Oh, okay.
Like a new generation artist. It was $190 million on her last tour. And basically, I was just telling you about this Subtronics guy. Basically, like if you don't get to 5,000 capacity shows, which I'm going to be honest, I've been grinding my ass off for the 9 years. It's hard. Like you need a ton of hits, like a string of hits, or like crazy controversy, like crazy this, crazy that. And you just got to be on the ball 24/7 and like really cultivate that fan base. If you don't do that and you tour at like a 2,000 to 3,000 capacity like tour, and you want to bring production and try to make it a cool experience for your fans, you are always in the red. I'm aiming to do this like 33 stop tour in Europe, and will net me negative $127,000
So why do it?
because you give your fans an experience and they're fans forever. And that's it. And like the only reason why I'm able to do this anyway is because of them. It's really just a pat on the back. And like sometimes I'm like volunteering, it's exhausting and you're like
Volunteering. Huh.
And I've done it for so long. Like this year, like I'm on track. I just listed a tour recently, like a week ago, and we sold out Toronto, probably the fastest I've ever sold out a show ever. And I felt like I was like, whoa, things are on the up. This is great. And I'm on track to make like probably $40,000, $50,000 on a tour that's going to gross like $1 million, but there's just so many expenses. So it's just like a really, really interesting dynamic when you see the back end, you're like,
Yeah, my understanding is that they'll pay you like a big amount for one night, but then it's up to you to then pay out like lighting and security and like, all the miscellaneous stuff with that.
So there's something called a guarantee. Typically that's like how most people take it. You can do like $1 deals at the door where it's like you basically rent the venue and you just take all the risk. Whereas a guarantee is like, I guarantee you $25,000 in your pocket, and then you budget the tour off of that. So you can have like a bus, so it's a little healthier for you. You can go to bed, and then you bring lighting, lasers. You try to make an experience or as cool as an experience as possible. My main goal is to try to make like a musical out of my music for the next tour. So my fans are just gonna be like, holy shit, you really tried. Because the bar is really low in rap music, to be real. But I don't know, like sometimes I get frustrated because I'm like, I don't really want to tour and not make any money anymore. Like I've been doing it for like 8 years basically. So I'm just, kind of tired of that. But at the same time, it's also like, who the fuck gets these experiences? And it's like, it really is as cliche and corny as it may sound. When I'm on stage and I see that many people just smiling and like giggling, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Like I can actually distill happiness in people. And I have the ability I always wanted to be a doctor. I went to school for kinesiology before I did music, and I just wanted to help people. And the ability that I have to reach people and like actually emotionally touch them in a way where my music is, I can say pee pee poo poo on stage and people are like, yeah. And, I think they just get me in a deeper level and they just want to be there to have fun and, have an experience and kind of like forget what is now for them and be in the moment. Dude, is a blessing. So if I have the ability to do that, lose some money at the same time, but like harness and be able to like nurture my fan base, like that's the main goal here. So,
although really quick, before we go into that, even if you think it's a bit overhyped, AI is suddenly everywhere, from self-driving cars, molecular medicine, to business efficiency. If it's not in your industry yet, it's coming fast.
But of course, the problem is that AI requires a ton of speed and computing power, so how can you compete without costs spiraling out of control?
That's why it's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or our sponsor, OCI.
OCI is a blazing fast and secure platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, plus all of your AI and machine learning workloads.
OCI costs 50% less for compute and 80% less for networking, so you're saving a ton of money. Not to mention, thousands of businesses have already upgraded to OCI, including MGM Resorts, Specialized Bikes, and Fireworks AI. And right now, Oracle is offering to cut your current cloud bill in half when you move to OCI. This is for new US customers with minimum financial commitment, and the offer ends December 31st, 2024. So see if your company qualifies for this special offer at oracle.com/iced. Again, that's oracle.com/iced with the link down below in the description. Thank you so much, Oracle, for sponsoring this podcast. And now let's get back to the episode.